Hello, you're watching VNA News broadcast daily from Hanoi. I'm Ngọc Hai and our top stories right now.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng meets Indian Minister of Shipping G.K. Vasan in Hanoi. Ho Chi Minh City authorities call on Australian businesses to invest in the city. A meeting is held in Hanoi on May 25 to mark World No Tobacco Day.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng has said the government always backs collaboration between the Vietnamese Ministry of Transport and the Indian Ministry of Shipping, especially in maritime and inland waterways. Receiving Indian Minister of Shipping G.K. Vasan in Hanoi on May 24th, Dũng heard the outcomes of talks between Vasan and Minister of Transport Đinh La Thăng. He said agreements reached by the two ministries will make practical contributions to the two countries' relations. Dũng said Vietnam wants to do its utmost to strengthen links with India in various fields, especially in economics, trade, investment, national defense, security, education, and training. The government leader suggested the Indian side promptly negotiate and sign a new agreement to replace the 1993 Aviation Agreement and cement maritime traffic and shipbuilding cooperation. Vasan said the two ministries signed the maritime agreement during his visit, shared experiences and discussed solutions to port management and maritime transport. He affirmed that India considers Vietnam a pillar in its Look East policy and is willing to work with the Vietnamese side to bolster cooperation in fields of exercise strength. Minister of Transport Đinh La Thăng and Indian Shipping Minister Vasan signed a bilateral cooperation agreement on shipping and trade in Hanoi the same day. The agreement is expected to strengthen Vietnam-India ties in maritime transport, promoting two-way economic and commercial exchanges, and generating opportunities for Vietnamese industry to penetrate regional and international maritime markets. It also facilitates cargo and passenger transport between the two countries, allowing the presence of commercial representatives of freight companies of one country in the other country, provided that they comply with the laws of the two nations. Vietnam and India enjoy a strong bilateral relationship, particularly since establishing their strategic partnership in 2007. The agreement provides a foundation for the two countries to speed up cooperation in building ships and training sailors and officers. Senior Japanese government officials have said they consider Vietnam to be Japan's important partner and hope to enhance the Japan-Vietnam strategic partnership.
The Japanese Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare, and the Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology made their remarks during the talks with Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Thiện Nhân in Tokyo on May 24. They pledged to support Vietnam's socio-economic development through official development assistance. During the talks, Nhân thanked the Japanese government and people for their great and valuable support to Vietnam. He suggested both sides strengthen cooperation to make bilateral ties more effective, particularly in economics, human resource development, science, and technology. On this occasion, Nhân and Foreign Minister Kishida Fumio witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding on teaching the Japanese language in Vietnam between the Vietnamese Ministry of Education and Training and the Japanese Foreign Ministry. The same day, Nhân met with former member of the House of Councillors Matsuda Iwao, former member of the House of Representatives Koizumi Toshiaki, and former Japanese ambassador to Vietnam Hattori Norio. Also on May 24, the Deputy Prime Minister attended the Forum on Vietnam-Japan Educational Cooperation. Addressing the event, Nhân said the number of Vietnamese students, postgraduates and apprentices in Japan has been increasing. He said the Vietnamese government has decided to include the Japanese language in the curriculum of its schools and will work with Japan to upgrade some universities in Vietnam. Vietnam will also establish a Japanese university in the country to equip people with first-rate skills, he said. On behalf of the Japanese government, Deputy Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology Teru Fukui noted that Japan has actively promoted educational cooperation with Vietnam through the Japan International Cooperation Agency projects and between the two countries' universities. Deputy Prime Minister Nguyen also met with Vietnamese embassy staff and representatives of the Vietnamese community before concluding his visit to Japan on May 25.
Secretary of the Ho Chi Minh City Party Committee Lê Thanh Hải met the visiting Speaker of the Australian House of Representatives Anna Burke in the city on May 24th. During the meeting, Hải told his guest, Vietnam hopes that the Australian House will pave the way for Australian businesses to pour investment into Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh City in particular. The Secretary said his city is running 111 projects with more than $200 million from Australian companies and investors. Speaker Anna Burke spoke highly of the city's role in the nation's socio-economic development. She said her country is keen to bolster ties with Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh City in particular. Australian enterprises operating in Ho Chi Minh City are all satisfied with the city's favorable investment environment, she said. She showed her delight at Vietnam's positive development, attributing it to the cooperation between the two countries. She added both sides should diversify cooperation in other areas in the time to come. The Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization held a meeting on May 25th in Hanoi to mark the World No Tobacco Day, which falls on May 31st, and launched the National No Tobacco Week. Addressing the event, Deputy Minister of Health Nguyễn Thị Xuyên affirmed Vietnam's commitment and determination to protect people's health from smoking by joining the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control and adopting the Law on Prevention and Control of Tobacco Harms. She noted that the ministry has worked closely with other ministries, sectors and social-political organizations, as well as localities, to comprehensively implement activities in response to the law. The World Health Organization representative said this year, World No Tobacco Day is themed Ban Tobacco Advertising, Promotion and Sponsorship. It aims to help policymakers and community unmask the tobacco industry strategy of broadening its market and increase the number of smokers. According to the organization, Vietnam has high risks of diseases and fatality due to smoking, with 40,000 tobacco-related deaths every year. The National No Tobacco Week will run from May 25th to 31st. Vietnam continued to see its trade deficit widen for the third consecutive month in May, reflecting the recovery of domestic production. According to the General Statistics Office, the trade deficit widened to more than $1.9 billion in the first 5 months of this year, growing by $722 million during the 4-month period. The office said the trade deficit has widened due to increasing imports of raw materials for domestic manufacturing sectors. This month, imports reached $12 billion, a rise of 9.4% over last month. Exports fetched $10.8 billion, up by 7.6%. During the first 5 months, imports totaled $51.8 billion, nearly 17% higher than the same period last year. In the period, exports reached nearly $50 billion, a rise of 15% year-on-year. The foreign investor sector experienced a trade surplus of about $4 billion in the 5 months and $420 million in May alone. That comes to the end of our news program today. I'm Ngọc Hà and the rest of the team. We thank you always for being with us and see you next time.